Hello friends, welcome to ICLAS Online IAS Academy. Today's session is all about Indian polity, its strategy and introduction. Right. So Indian polity for civil service examination. The civil service examination has three stages. Right. So preliminary, mains and interview. You know, preliminary is subjective examination, mains is the descriptive examination and interview is the oral test. Right. So the questions emanate in the examination is of three types basically. Okay, one is completely current affairs based, that is whatever the latest happenings, the question is based on that. If you don't read the current happenings, then you can't able to answer the questions. Okay, the second is purely static, that is if you master the subject, that is either one or two book, then you can able to answer the question without even know the current happenings. The third thing is blend of current affairs plus static. That is, the question will be of the nature of the question will be based on the current affairs. The answers you only able to answer if you master both static and you are aware of the current happenings. This is not applicable only to polity. For the entire syllabus of the civil service examination, this is the case. Okay, this is one. So with respect to strategy, the polity for civil service examination is very simple. One book you have to read is Lakshmikant. After attending the class, you have to read the respective chapters in the Lakshmikant, because the classes will give the concept clarity, but to clear the prelims examination, you need two things. One, read, and second one is revise. The revise comes from repeated reading of this book. Okay. So you have to read the sources is only one book, that is Lakshmikant. After class, you have to read only Lakshmikant. For preliminary examination, you have to read and revise. Okay. For mains examination, it is a descriptive examination. You have to do one more thing, that is read, revise, and practice. Okay. You have to make the answer. You have to make that answer writing is a daily routine. You have to write at least 3 answers per week. Then only it will help you in the mains examination, because the time is very limited. If you know that, if you practice that, then it will become very easy to crack this examination. In general, there are two things is very essential to crack this exam or any other exam. One is the right guidance. Second one is the consistent hard work. The right guidance include exceptional concept clarity as well as the right sources. Right. Consistent hard work means there are many aspirants, they work on hard work, but the consistency is the factor, because this exam requires nearly 16 months. So the consistency is the factor in clearing the examination. Right. I am adding you to the one fact to the interesting. Right. 25% of the students crack this exam in first attempt. So it is possible to crack this exam in the first attempt. Right. So today, with respect to syllabus of the examination, this is the preliminary syllabus given by examination, was divided into polity, constitution, governance, social justice, and international relation. For our discussion, we will confine with this only. So under the polity and the constitution, governance, the syllabus is given this like this. Okay. If you ask me, the entire syllabus can be placed perfectly under these topics. So what does it mean is the syllabus of the preliminary examination is equal to the syllabus of the mains examination with respect to polity. That is what the main syllabus was detailed, whereas prelim syllabus is not a detailed. So you have to read the entire thing. Right here, the governance is also mentioned in the preliminary syllabus. So you have to read the entire things for the preliminary itself in polity. Okay. So that is all about the syllabus. Just today's session agenda is this one. You have to know this polity versus constitution. So let's start with that. So what is the difference between polity and constitution? We have seen in the syllabus, right? Polity means an identifiable political entity, the entity which has an identity, right? Then a group of people, collective identity, have the resource mobilizing capacity and organized by some form of the institutionalized hierarchy. Okay. So a group of people have the common identity, have the capacity to mobilize the resources, and have some form of institutionalized hierarchy. For example, take this ICLAS IAS Academy. It's a polity. It has a group of people, those who are called under the name of ICLOS, collective identity, right? They have the capacity to resource mobilization, right? They have the hierarchy. So this is called polity. Okay, like this, any other thing. You may take the Chennai Super Kings team or BCCI or any other, for example, Indian country. So anything that has a group of people have the collective common identity, ability to capacity, ability to mobilize the resources are called the polity. Those polity needs certain rules and regulation, right, to govern that polity. So that rules and regulation are called constitution. But today's our context is not about the CSK or a class. Our context is we are going to study about the Indian polity. Then we have to know about the rules and regulation of the India. That's why we have to study the Indian constitution, right? Indian constitution is nothing but the rules and regulation that is needed to govern the polity that is India, right? So what is constitution means? Simply it's a law book. It prescribes the manner, that is how to rule the polity that is India to be governed. Okay. Now I hope you have understand the difference between the polity and constitution. To say simply, one more definition may I give to you, that it's the process of forming a civil government. Okay. Here, one thing you have to understand, that there is no universal or one definition in humanities. There are two things, right? Humanities and science. Science means objective. Okay. That is, for say example, force. Force is defined. It is across the globe. It is same. Okay. But in humanities, it will differ. Why? Because there is no universal. It is not science. It's not. Okay. Anyone can give definition, but we can take most widely or most used definitions. So the process of forming a civil government is a most used definition in the polity for the nation states. Okay, I hope you understand the difference between the polity and constitution. Then the third word in the syllabus is governance. It's a altogether separate topic. We will discuss it later. I think it is not better to discuss here. Okay. So the agenda of the session is polity versus constitution has been over. Then introduction to the constitution we will start with. So we already know that constitution is the law book that will prescribe the manner in which the country is governed. Okay. There are certain other characters the constitution have. That is fundamental law, organic law, and supreme law. So what is fundamental law? See, the laws can be made by many organizations in the country. Okay. For example, say parliament or state legislature. But these organizations or any other organization that create laws that cannot be in or unconformity with the fundamental law, that is constitution. Why? Because all other laws derive power from respective institution, and that institution will derive power from constitution. Thereby it derives the power from people, but constitution derives power directly from the people. So no law which cannot be in conformity with the fundamental rights or fundamental law. Okay. Organic law means it's a law which establishes an agency. So our constitution is an organic law. How? Means it establishes many agencies: legislative agencies, executive agencies, judicial agencies, parliament, state legislature, right? Prime minister, chief minister, prime PMO, etc. Right? Supreme Court, High Court, and many other bodies. For example, CAG, Election Commission, etc. Right? So it's an organic law. So next one is supreme law. What is supreme law? Means there is no other law which can override this constitutional law. Okay, that is constitution is supreme. Other laws must conform to the constitution. Okay, so it is the basic of constitution. Now you understand what is constitution, what constitution's character is, but what actually a constitution is, how constitution looks like, right? So constitution will look like this. Suppose you consider that you have a book. Okay, this book has many chapters. Okay, these chapters are divided into sub chapters. Okay, so like that the constitution is a law book. We have known that, right? There are many parts. In books you have units. In constitution it is called parts. Books in books you have units and sub called chapters, right? But in constitution it is called parts, and there are sub things are called chapters. Okay. So part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5. Here we take the example of part 5, union government. Within this, there are chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. So, okay. The parts, the constitution is divided into parts, and if the large parts are divided into subparts, that is called chapters. Within the chapters, there are something called articles. Okay. That is series of articles will be present inside the chapters. That is 52 to 78, 79 to 122 C. Okay. We have seen that parts, chapters, articles. There is one more thing called schedules. We will discuss it later. So originally the constitution originally means when the constitution was commencement, initially it has 22 parts, 8 schedules and 395 articles. Okay.